They fate him. It's been the case wherever he's been this year. 80 Ks to go when he wins in Strade Bianche. The Slovenian supporters are going to go wild because at the end of this year, he's going to take the rainbow back to Slovenia, it seems. After Strade Bianche, he went to Catalonia and dominated. 4 stages in the overall there. A monument on the way to his first Giro. And a first Giro was a first Giro win. 6 stage wins there in the overall. Then the Tour, another 6 stage wins. Another overall. A double that hadn't been done for 26 years. And as he's come back for this, he won in Montreal. He's here now. 22 wins this season. Something that already had not been done by anybody for over a decade. Pogačar ripping up the numbers, rewriting the record books, and it looks like we know he's going to do it. 24 Ks from the finish. Now Squinch is putting Ben Healy in a little bit of trouble, and this is what's going to set the home fans delirious. Mark Hirschi dropping Van der Poel, dropping Evenepoel, putting the rest in trouble, and Hirschi's after the podium. What a story that would be.
Well, Mark Hirschi, he was the man that not only the Swiss were talking about, but many in the cycling world after that run of victories in one-day races. Won 5 out of 6. One of them was a little bit flatter and he wasn't there to win it, so you can forgive him that one. But he's been on an absolute roll on the run-up to this World Championships, and now on the attack on the major climb of this circuit, and that would be a fairy tale for him to ride across to Scoins and Ben Healy and score himself a medal at the end of this World Championship.
Pogačar losing 5 seconds to Squinch, who's made that move. It's 1:08 now to Hirschi. That turns to 1:07, and those numbers continue to reduce. This is now Evenepoel, who's trying to come into the mix and fight for that podium. Fighting to the last with Van der Poel, and with Enric Mas, who's riding really well. He's followed him up the hill with David Gaudu.
Healy back in the wheel of Scoins, so just briefly distanced by the Latvian, but the Irishman is back with him. So 11 seconds back now to Mark Hirschi, and being pursued by the group led by Remco Evenepoel. There's Hirschi at the right of screen.
22.2 kilometres to go. And for the first time in this race, since he was alone, the gap now has gone down. 53 seconds, 10 seconds have gone out the way for Tadej Pogačar. Should he be worried?
I'm going to say yes, because we're still on the climb, and it is a place where I was convinced he would go further in front. Has he been riding within himself is the question, and he's not too worried? Or is the effort starting to tell on Tadej Pogačar?
He's been on the attack for almost 80 kilometres. Pogačar looks around, 49 seconds now. He's going to look up at the chalkboard there, and he might start to see something different. Is this the bit of drama that we weren't expecting? That isn't supposed to happen when he's in front. This World Championship road race continues to give. Netherlands and Spain now have numbers here. Mollema's going to ride, and Mas is there with Adria. Alongside them, it's Romain Bardet, who survived the longest now for France. That is quite the ride from the veteran. And Remco Evenepoel, who's here. This group now at 1:10. At 1:01, you have Mark Hirschi. At now, just 47 seconds. Healy and Squinch, who saved their acceleration for the climb, and for the first time are starting to reverse the deficit inflicted upon them by Tadej Pogačar. There might be another twist. There might be yet another chapter in this wonderful Swiss story today.
Well, we'd all but given it away to Tadej Pogačar when he went out to a minute with a lap to go. But we did say earlier how quickly things can change. We've gone on and on and on about nutrition, but this is why. And it's not just the nutrition. It's a 274-kilometre race. He went on the attack with 100k to go. We might say he's a machine, he's a phenomenon, he's all these sorts of things. But he...
De Lavazza Espresso, gecreëerd door de maestro's van espresso.
3, 2, 1.
Kom op.
De race door Gotham City is begonnen.
Crisis yet. But those gaps changing tell us something. And what they're telling us is this race might still be on. You say it's still a long shot, but he's now starting to steady it.
That ticker hasn't changed now for the last 30 or 40 seconds. It tumbled, and I want to see evidence. I want to know that it's absolutely come down to 47. And this ticker's not just playing with our minds, because Tadej Pogacar, as you said, Rob, visibly, he doesn't look distressed. He doesn't really look like he's slowing. Here's she coming across to Scoins, and Healy just up the road in front of him.
Here she looks around. You will see 8 seconds behind him. The likes of Foderpool, Evenepoel, Mas, Balde. This is Squinch. And Healy continues to fight as well. The bottom of the climb, it looked like the podium might be going that way without any sort of big reaction. But they found something here, spurred on by Mark Hirschi. Pogacar puts another second back into his own lead. That calms that theory down for the moment.
And that big burst from Mark Hirschi out of the group of Evenepoel, Van der Poel and the others got him more than halfway across the gap to Healy and Scoins, but now he's just plateaued. He can't close it. He's drifting back the other direction.
Van der Poel being chased by Simmons and by Enric Mas. Off in pursuit, representing Australia, is Ben O'Connor. What a season he's had.
Mollema, Evenepoel, Bardet, Adria.
105 back to this group. And as his Squinch continue to try and pedal for his life and for his nation. Latvia represented by a tremendous bike rider who's having a super season. And those words wouldn't go anywhere near to describing what this man has done in 2024. He's about to add something else to it, maybe, but look at Enric Mas. Enric Mas has learned the art of attacking. And here he goes again. We saw it at the Vuelta. He is in the form of his life. And Spain can dream of a podium.
Enric Mas now making his way across to Mark Hirschi, who's doing just as much looking over the shoulder as he's looking at the group in front of him. Enric Mas, it seems the longer it goes on, the harder the grind, the better it is for Enric Mas, off the back of a superb welter for the Spaniard. And he is pedaling his way across to the Swiss.
And it's the United States through Simmons, who's getting better and better with each pedal stroke too, who's pushing on for the pulls on his wheel. Balde. For one, it was all about Gaudu in this group, but Romain Baldé's there. Then O'Connor, Roger Adrian, Mollema and Evenepoel. And now Hirschi will have company. Just ahead of this group is Enric Mas, who's got onto the wheel of the Swiss.
That's going to be good for Hirschi that Enric Mas gets across, those two cooperate. You can see the gap on the road. It is, 50, 60, 70 metres between them and the Van der Poel group. Another look over the shoulder from Hirschi.
It's been a real step forward again for Enric Mas this year, perhaps when we least expected it as well. Became a father, much more mature, and that performance at the Vuelta has catapulted him onto this. Another reaction here, but it's still stop-start. Everybody's on their hands and knees now.
Volker Mollema is just throwing everything down onto the pedals to stay in this group. O'Connor accelerates at the front of it again, followed by Simmons, Adria, and Van der Poel. Well, he's asked by the others to swing into the gap. Conversation between Pogacar and team manager Urs Moon.
How's your Slovenian, Robbie?
Well, I'm just reading the face, and the struggle is getting real now for Tadej Pogacar. Still holding 47 seconds, but we did not expect him to hand that much time back to the chase of Healy and Scoinch.
The deficit has been
Not over.
15 seconds on the first part of the lap. Tadej Pogacar has conceded 15 seconds so far. He's all alone, and now Evenepoel. And this is Evenepoel like we've not seen him before in this race today. Mathieu van der Poel makes the move. Adrià will try and chase.
Evenepoel not going on the steep, hardest part of the climb, choosing to counter, going on the flat road, use acceleration, and then his time trial skills after that. If he can get the gap, Van der Poel was awake to it, and the rest are scrambling for the wheel. Hirschi and Mas now, a moment ago, he was looking effortless. That belies what's going on within. The Spaniard's legs are screaming. O'Connor trying to go across.
And more of the gap gets chipped off again. And Tadej Pogacar is losing seconds. 42 turned to 41 now. It looked as though he'd stemmed the flow. It looked as though he'd managed to put the plaster on. But Tadej Pogacar, wow, this race might yet change again. And it keeps on giving.
Honestly, now, any one of these, well, what's become now 4 groups on the road, any of them could win this title, because Tadej Pogacar, back to 40 seconds, he has handed back 20 seconds to Ben Healy and Tom Scoins. He's lost 40 to Mas and Hirschi since the start of the last lap.
Tadej Pogacar came through the finish line with a minute of a gap. Tadej Pogacar started the climb with us asking if he'd fed and watered correctly. That was going to be the only thing that was going to stop him. He's starting to show nerves. He's starting to show irritation. And the gap is starting to look weaker. 37 seconds. It's almost been halved. And we are not yet halfway through this lap. Yes, the most difficult part has been done, but if there's a group together working on the flat at the end, that is where the seconds could disappear. He's got to make it to the descent with enough of a gap to keep it there. It's 39 seconds turning to 38, and now the two chasers must drink, eat, and get ready for the finale too. Squeeze tries to does that in a hurry. He's now with Healy. But now with them, Hirschi and Mas, and what a road race. Switzerland suddenly, after everybody else in the whole bunch looking out of it, are looking at maybe an outside opportunity to win the world title. You've got two former champions in the chase. Evenepoel has awoken. Mathieu van der Poel is here and mounting a defence. And Ben O'Connor is trying to crown his year with something really special for Australia. It's 39 seconds for Pogacar. There are 16.5 kilometres to go. And Robbie McEwen, just as we were wondering what we talk about for the last lap, oh, wow. There's plenty of material right in front of us. Tadej Pogacar, what's happening?
That is plenty of Tadej Pogacar. Now, compared to the last couple of laps, even though he's on an uphill drag here at the moment, the speed visibly lower than that he's been holding for the last couple of laps. He's got 41 seconds on this chase group, and maybe that's the best thing that could happen for Tadej Pogacar as the group comes together, nobody willing to give it 100% effort when they hit the front anymore, and that gap may start to tick back up again. They're shown the time board by the officials. They'll know they're gaining time on Pogacar. Eyes will be lighting up even in this state of fatigue. They'll know this is game on. Any of these riders can still become world champion.
It's a boost to morale, a shot in the arm. You could see the faces as they came through the line last time. Resigned to defeat. Pogacar's put another couple of seconds back into them. But the new situation is Pogacar in front, 42 seconds ahead of Van der Poel, Evenepoel, Mas, O'Connor, Hirschi, Healy and Squinch. And to further 20 seconds, you have Adrià, Valde, Simmons and Mollema. It is quite the World Championship race in its 91st edition. Back here in Switzerland with Tadej Pogacar fighting the rest, fighting himself, fighting his bike at his aching legs, looking behind when he really shouldn't, trying to win the world title for Slovenia for the first time.
Well, plenty of downhill to come now for Tadej Pogačar. The hardest part of the course is behind him. Another kilometre or so of flat section, that little steep kicker up and over the top and onto the descent. And just before when Remco Evenepoel went through to the front, then it was Van der Poel. There was no one readily going through to the front. There weren't many there who were prepared to lay it on the line. Tom Scoynes now going back through, but Ben Healy choosing to take more of a break at the back of the group. Mars just in front of him. He made that huge effort to go across to Mark Hirschi and work with him. And this is to the advantage now of Tadej Pogačar. This group come together, all eyes. They're darting around, looking at each other. Who's the strongest? Where can I get away? And Tadej Pogačar, he may not be gaining any more time, but he's not losing it as quickly as he was.
He might be dominant, but it's never boring, Robbie.
I won't say it's all part of the show because nobody would willingly.
You wouldn't do that yourself, would you?
He would not do that, but he is certainly keeping our attention.
50 k's an hour here's about to go up. Downhill, 14 k's to go. Entering a very quick finale to what has been a brilliant parkour and a highly entertaining race. A little bit of help with that tailwind there.
And that's the thing, Rob. We go back to that feed zone over a lap ago where he missed that bidon and Ogel. It took a very long time for the team car to be allowed forward. Even though he then got what he wanted later, in a race like this, over this distance, this length of time, with the calories that are being burnt, with the efforts being made, if you get into a deficit, even for the shortest amount of time, you can't get back on top of it. Once you're in a deficit, you stay there. You've got to have it at the right time. And if you don't, it's threatening your tank is going to go on empty.
Well, it isn't the first time we've seen it. Think back to Lombardy a couple of years ago, or last year a couple of years ago, one of the two. And he was there. He was panicking. You don't often see that from him. Now then, 40 seconds turns to 39. And things change again. How's he looking, Robbie?
450 metres. When you put it like that, they'll just about be able to see him. And cars will be sent out of the gap. That is red alert. And that's
coming down as well. 397 metres. Hello. Robbie McEwen looks like he's in a state of shock. And I think it's the same expression many of you will have looking at your tellies, looking at your phones, looking at the tablets. Because on the picture, Pogačar travelling at a slower rate than those chasing him. Those chasing him having the power. There goes the neutral service car, and there is a dramatic swing in momentum away from a man who looked like he was the champion-elect, who is now starting to swing, who's now starting to struggle, whose tank and warning light is flashing empty. This is a really dangerous moment now for Tadej Pogačar, and the downhill here will feel like heaven. 6.25 hours in this race. He looks down. He is worrying. A reminder that if you're just switching on, this man attacked at 100 kilometres to go.
As you said, Rob, all the warning lights are on and there's all but smoke coming out the back of Tadej Pogačar at the moment. 40 seconds, he's still holding that same time gap. And, okay, the metres on the road that we're being shown, it's all relative when you're going uphill. That shortens quite a lot. But if it's 41 seconds, he can get to the downhill, he should be just safe to carry that through to the finish. But it's 7.5 kilometres from the bottom of the descent through to the finish. If they
Don't go away. Do not go away, whatever you're doing.
If they drill it, if this chase group can really cooperate, they can catch him. It's going to take all of them. No misturns, all 100%. But they could catch him.
And there might be a Pogacar in front, but there's a Van der Poel and Evenepoel, Mass and O'Connor all working together behind with Hirschi, Healy and Screens as well. A look behind from Pogacar. We just saw the neutral service car pulled out of the gap. We know this is a tricky descent. We know that it's narrow roads and a lot of that will be for safety. But that normally happens when the gap goes below 30 seconds. It's telling us 700 metres here.
Let's look at the body language on this really steep little section now. Up and out of the saddle for Pogacar. And we'll compare that sort of speed now to what we'll see in the chase group. 43 seconds we're seeing on the clock, so edging away. Maybe they're just starting to think about silver in that chase group.
He looked all right there, didn't he?
Who can go? Can Van der Poel leave the rest with one of those cyclocross-style hill efforts?
It might need it because Pogacar
He's
there,
going.
after really looking like he might have been a little bit of trouble, more like himself. Let's see, here is Van der Poel in the orange. Keep your eye on him. He's on the wheel at the moment of Screens. Even at the back of this group. Here it goes up the hill. And now then, this is the moment. There, somebody has to go. 46 seconds. Nobody can go. Nobody can go. And Pogacar, at this point, was still looking decent when you compare him to these guys, no?
Yep, he is. I mean, look at that speed. You're sort of taking in all the painting on the road and how quickly they're passing over that. They're not going faster than Tadej Pogacar. That ticker now, 48 seconds to Tadej Pogacar. That will be music to his ears that the gap is going back up at this point. And he's squeezing out every last drop.
You had that moment, didn't you? Just that final bit of the uphill before he got the rest on the descent there. You really got the sense he was in trouble, and the time gap was telling us that. The expressions as well. But he had that little bit of recovery. Very, very little bit of recovery. And he started to look a little bit more like himself. The gaps are showing that. 600 metres, again, the difference. 52 seconds, it's telling us. And Pogacar, surely now, surely, almost has this in the bag.
Yeah, well, that gap in terms of metres, once he gets on this descent, that will almost be 950 metres, a kilometre in front. That'll be at the speeds they'll be hitting down here. Already over 60 kilometres an hour. Takes exactly a minute at 60k an hour. Van der Poel with an acceleration now.
And here he goes. Here she tried to follow. There's Sweden as well. Getting out of mass. "47 seconds. So much drama here. And we really did not expect this.
Evenepoel, he's reached his limit. O'Connor with him and Healy. Healy's been almost always on the back of this group since he got caught. It's such a massive effort. Him and Scoins off the front in the chase behind Pogacar, who is now getting some respite, able to just hold the legs still, let gravity do its work and defend his lead for him.
Eight Ks to go. The lake comes into view. 7 full laps around here. It's been almost 8 when you take in the first 3/4 of a lap, and they went over the other climb to join that plateau at the top. An amazing 273-kilometre race. 4,500 metres of climbing. Many of the best bike riders in the world. Former champions, the defending champion, and at the minute with 46 seconds, after a wobble and a scare, I think Tadej Pogacar looks like the champion-elect. Bobby laughs. He knows there might be another twist yet in that kind of race.
I just didn't dare agree with you just at this moment, not after what we've just seen.
You have to hand it to Van der Poel. Trained specifically for this, didn't he? Knew it was going to be difficult, certainly with this man turning up and racing the way he does. But he's still fighting.
Getting as aero as the rules allow. Well, he's on the edge of his seat. He's had us on the edge of ours for the last lap of this race. We'd pretty much awarded the jersey, hung the medal around his neck, thought about the races he'll ride as world champion, and then we've had what's happened over the last 20K. What a script. Did you write this?
I don't think I'd be capable of this, mate. Incredible. It's not over yet. Switzerland is still in the mix for a medal, let's not forget. And after the cloudy week in terms of the weather, after the nasty stormy week, metaphorically, it's exactly what the Swiss fans would like as well. Can he or she pull it off? Now here's Evenepoel right inside. It's being followed by Van der Poel, who's down the orange. Squinch still there, still fighting. One of the rides of his life. 6Ks to go. 50 seconds now. The 26-year-old Tadej Pogačar. There's not much new that we can tell you about him. There's not much else we can say about him, full stop. He's got just over half a kilometre of a lead now, and now it's Hirschi putting in what he hopes will be the final dig, and this time there's gap, this time there's daylight, and now he's going to try and build on it. Van der Poel reacts, and he's still fighting.
And that gap to Tadej Pogačar is coming down quickly on this little stretch, the last uphill stretch on this course. And you can see the pain, the agony of Tadej Pogačar wrenching on the bike, not looking anywhere near as smooth as he has for the last 95 kilometres. Remco Evenepoel just off the wheels at the moment as well, but everything concertinaing back together.
We have to hand it to Evenepoel. I think from quite a way away, you knew he wasn't 100% of what he can be. When he was out of position, when he wasn't going, as we now see Mas come around. Healy's the man in the front, by the way, now. 45 seconds to Pogačar. Lost that little bit of time again on the uphill. But he's about to dive down again. He's near the top. Evenepoel showing that despite all that build-up, I know he's a special rider himself. Not quite 100%.
The leg's not quite there anymore for Remco Evenepoel, but it's pride powering him back on. He just does not want to be dropped by this group. At least wants to finish with them. Healy now pulled back by Mas. Look over the shoulder from Van der Poel. Squinch in his wheel. Squinch is going to attack now.
In the red jersey, Tom Squinch. Van der Poel try and follow. What a defence, or an attempt at a defence at his title. Each and every rider here deserves a medal. Only checking out distance. Squinch, Van der Poel, O'Connor, and Hirschi. There's that gap to Mas. Over the top they go, and here comes Pogačar on his way down to the flat and the running. It's almost job done for Slovenia. The first ever world title. 46 seconds.
Nervous faces amongst the Slovenian team delegation there at the finish. You'd imagine as the teammates, the staff, everybody watching this in Slovenia or roadside on the screen they can get in front of. Hearts in mouths.
Healy's gone here. Squinch is going to chase him. And now he...
But you've got to say, Healy and Squinch really deserve medals in this race. Evenepoel, the man in third wheel, then it's Van der Poel. Ben O'Connor following him.
"97 kilometres since he attacked. And no, you don't need your hearing checked. Tadej Pogačar made his move with 100 Ks to go. And he has 47 seconds of a gap over his closest chasers. Now we can say it, on the way to a world title. He's shown the gap for the last time. He knows the difference he has on those chasing, and they are fighting for medals themselves. And two former world champs are trying to join him on the podium. They're Evenepoel and Van der Poel. None of this lot are with them and giving up. They've all ridden rip-roaring races, but nobody as audacious as Tadej Pogačar. We questioned where he was going when he went. Yes, even we questioned where he was going. But they're giving each other a right kicking behind while he was out in the front, continuing to ride at his rhythm. Even that was almost too difficult, as Healy's trying to join him now. And Van der Poel will chase him down. With Hirschi trying to get back in, it'll be stop, start once more. And it's all this stuff that has helped Pogačar continue to ride up the front. It has been a really special day, Robbie.
It's been just simply incredible the way this has happened strategically from Tadej Pogačar from such long range. But then in that strategy, Jan Tratnik, who sat up and waited out of that breakaway group and dragged him around to the next time of the climb. Then he was with his trade teammate in Pavel Sivakov for an entire lap before going solo. But it has been a seesaw battle where it looked like they were almost going to catch him. But Tadej Pogačar will prevail, become world champion, and Mark Hirschi.
Ben O'Connor's out the way as well.
Oh, the white tricked me.
1 kilometre for Tadej Pogačar, who is quite deservedly going to get a hero's welcome. Now looks behind and won't see anybody. Now knows that the pain is almost over. Shakes his head in disbelief, because exploits like this do not happen very often. 1987, the last time that somebody won the Giro, the Tour and the Worlds. It's the roar for a rip-roaring performance. And now the finish line's in front of him. For only the third time in the long history of professional cycling, the triple is going to be crowned. And who else to do it but Tadej Pogačar, the modern sports all-round wizard. He stunned us all at the start of the season, attacking with 80 kilometres to go in Italy. He's bettered even that here. Attacking from 100 kilometres from the finish. And no wonder he's emotional. No wonder he's believed. Because he had to believe. It's Pog's world in professional cycling at the moment. And these are Pog's worlds. Tadej Pogačar and the rainbow jersey. The perfect fit. 100 kilometres. Winning in a style that only he knows. But who's going to join him on the podium? Ben O'Connor is the first answer. He was up there at the Vuelta. He can't believe it. And what company he's keeping.
Brilliant.
O'Connor in second place. It's a silver for Australia. Well played, that man. It's Pogačar. It's O'Connor. And now Squeeze puts in the attack. Van der Poel realises he has to react. Here she's there trying to take the dream for Switzerland as well. Here they come inside the final 200 metres now. Can Squeeze hold on? Because Van der Poel's coming around him. There goes the man who won the race last year. Mathieu Van der Poel's at the front. He will do it. He will take it. It is Pogačar, O'Connor, Van der Poel at the end of an historic barnstorming World Championships. And I'm not sure we will see a Worlds ridden like that, taken to pieces with 100 kilometres to go, ever again. There's only one man who could do that, and that is Tadej Pogačar.
Great defence by Mathieu Van der Poel. Third in the end, O'Connor escaping for silver. Van der Poel marking all the rest as much as he could. Brings them home in the sprint. But Tadej Pogačar has taken us on some adventure.
That was an exhausting watch. To think what it would have been like to ride it. Here he goes. Off to celebrate. Ushka's there. Slovenia has a world title. And it's the golden couple of Slovenian cycling that's on your screen.
It's going to be some interview to talk us through that final lap.
What on earth was he thinking when he went at 100k's to go, Robbie?
Probably thinking, it's only 100k. But when we talked earlier about instinct in a bike race, not looking at numbers, but looking at what's happening around, the feeling that he had, and he just went from one champion to another. A year in rainbows ends for Van der Poel, and is just beginning for Tadej Pogačar.
He had to win this. He has won this. As I just said, Tadej Pogačar in the rainbow jersey is quite the perfect fit. Well, exhausted, speechless. That's just the commentators, Robbie.
Remco Evenepoel still willing to have a laugh and a joke with Mathieu Van der Poel. So behind Van der Poel in third was Tom Skoyns in fourth, Remco Evenepoel in fifth, Mark Hirschi in sixth. What a race. What a battle.
Let's say something that when even experts of the long-range exploit, Evenepoel and Van der Poel, are laughing in disbelief about what they have just been part of. He doesn't just win, it's the way in which he does it. Tadej Pogačar has his rainbow jersey. He's done it in the way that only he knows how. Well, Pogačar and the World Championships. It's done. And in quite the style. And it'll take us a long time